Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole. And here's my assist of the 2026 Arlington Million. And what can I say? We're going to see the wonderful horse Burnham Square who's turned a tiger on the turf, but he's going to run with competition with Fort Washington and also test score. Now, my last video test score was a live possibility to this year's Breeders' Come Out turf race, which I like with one stripe. And this has been an ambitious place to put test score in, on, not because of class, but because of the distance at a mile and 1/4. I favor this horse better at a mile, and he's going to be tough at a mile, but a mile and 1/4 might be two furlongs long for this horse. But it is an interesting possibility that Grand Motion had this horse either for endurance or he believes this horse could win. Now, the analysis is that Fort Washington is a horse of course. He won the race last year and would be trying to be one of the first few horses that is going to try to win back-to-back Arlington Millions. He's the horse of the course. He's off a layoff, and that's my pick. Now, it'd be kind of nice to see Burnham Square win another one. He's ultra impressive since he's been on the turf, and he's going to show that this is not just one of those free things or he's just winning everything on the turf right now. This will shoot him as #1 United States contender for the Breeders' Cup turf race. But unfortunately, he's going to be up against it for whatever your brings horse is, regardless if it's Caladigan, Unbunsman, Mini Hawk, or anybody else to matter to that fact. But it will be a good competitive race. The fair odds through Horse Racing Nation has Burnham Square's 2-1 favorite. And that's kind of a lukewarm favorite, good odds. Morning Light and fair odds thinking about 5-2. I think he'll be a little bit lower than that. I think 9-5. Now, Fort Washington's going to take a lot of action. Might be the second choice in the race just because of his last year's win, and he's going to be ultra tough in this race, being at Colonial Downs. As I stated, test score should be around the third choice, about 4-1. So my pick for the race would be the Fort Washington, just because he likes the course and he's off a freshener. Going into other news is that last weekend's Triple Bend Stakes, we just had the sad news that the cornucopia was euthanized after breaking its leg. Now, again, made commentaries about horses now having injuries and sustaining multiple injuries. Also, journalism has been retired because he sustained an injury in the San Diego Handicap, where unfortunately his main competition to pick out horse I like was Full Serrano, who wound up having foot problems and missing on the race. Now, there's a lot of questions why horses are breaking down. My take has been that you have to use the holistic medicine to cure these animals and watch over them without using any other kind of medication, especially the so-called legal medication you could use in horse racing, and how well that works. It's like the horse is just like human beings. If there's something that I wouldn't take as a horse, what makes you think the horse wants it? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being accurate about what I'm saying. Another thing is maybe the 2-year-old racing should be banned now, and we should only have horses running as 3-year-olds, maybe pushing the Kentucky Derby Triple Crown races later in the year now to allow them the bones to be somewhat developed as their 3-year-olds and not have so many runs as 2-year-olds. I know that puts a fringe in the Breeders' Cup with the 2-year-old championship at risk, but the horses are really having issues with these injuries now. Also, another thing that I stated a while ago, one of my videos about a year and a half ago, that horses are being crossbred to have speed either on the top or the dam side now. And maybe we should go the old-fashioned way, just have them bred it for endurance on top and bottom. There just seems that their bodies are not fully developed to take the rigorous running of all the prep races toward the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Derby, especially with the Belmont going back next year to 2027 on Big Sandy, which will be a 1.5 mile test. And it would be a test for any of these 3-year-olds now. And maybe you think, like the old days, when you breed horses that are going to run the classic distance, a 1 1/4 mile, 1/8, maybe half, and the distance and endurance top and bottom, from the sire side to the dam side. And a lot of the also stating that with the less horses being foaled now, and a lot of the mares are not producing many foals anymore, that we're losing the lineage from going back to the Godolphin and Arabian. And it's just too much, what is certain to say, there's too much breeding has gone too thin now, that we don't have any of the, especially on the dam side, it's not allowed to have bred into endurance anymore. and I've seen that it's a possible issue. Also, I made a statement. A lot of it also has to do with global warming. You'll see the fires in Oregon, but the tracks now are so dry now with the lack of rain. It's almost like horses running on concrete, and those little fragile bones are carrying a ton of horse is just pounding, especially on sprint race. As cornucopia broke down this past week in a Del Mar, track doesn't have any moisture because of the lack of rain, or even when it watered down the track, it just so hard on the horse's ankles and knees and legs. And that was something I would address today, and maybe that would make something positive moving forward. The horses not getting hurt on the track as much. And I would just say maybe we start racing the babies at 3-year-old, not as 2 anymore. I know, like I said, that it fringes on the Kentucky Derby and pushes maybe the Derby back some months away. But there's got to be an answer to all these fatalities on the track right now. That's all I have for you for this evening. This is James Ramos for At the Quarter Pole. We're winning and history run neck and neck. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.